Hello everyone! Happy Wednesday! Thank you for joining me, everyone. My name is Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make lovely and quirky hand embroidery kits. And I am here every weeknight at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. And it's a time where we can relax and craft together for about an hour in the evening. And I typically work on projects from beginning to end, so you can be part of the whole process and you can even work on the projects with me. So tonight, you guys, we've been taking a little break from our larger project, from our larger Splendid Sampler 2 Quilt Along project, and we have been knitting a dishcloth. So I'm hoping that we can just about finish it today. Yesterday we talked a little bit about the difference between the knit stitch and the purl stitch, and we are going to play with that a little bit more tonight. So that is the plan. Let's get stitching. This will take a little while yet tonight. I'm hoping we can almost just about get done because tomorrow is New Block Thursday for the Splendid Sampler 2 Quilt Along, and I'm going to want to check out those new blocks and start sewing something. So thanks again, guys, for joining me. Ooh, Gretchen, you knitted for the very first time today. You'll have to let us know how that went. All right, I'm going to flip you around. Let's start knitting. All right, so here's what we're knitting. We're knitting that little dishcloth here. So this is kind of what it'll look like when it's done. It's a square here with diagonals, but what we're actually doing is stitching from the bottom, increasing a bunch of times. We're making an increase of 1 stitch each row till we get to 45 stitches, and then we're decreasing back down, decreasing 1 stitch with each row. So that's where we're at now. We started decreasing here. So this is our highest point. Here's the 45 stitches on the needle point, and now we're going to keep going down here. So all right, and yesterday, like I said, we talked about a knit stitch and a purl stitch, and I have been knitting this whole time. So knitting one row, flipping it, and then knitting the next row, flipping it, and then knitting again. We talked about how a knit stitch puts a little bump, a loopy bump on the back of where you're stitching. So I'm knitting and it'll be on the back. Whereas a purl, when you do a purl stitch, that bump ends up on the front. So the act of controlling what side we want the bump on allows us a lot of designability, right? So I started to show you guys a stocking net. Oh my gosh, I can't speak today. Stocking net. Oh man, you guys. Whew. So it is where it starts to look like the cute little V's. And this is kind of what typically I think people think about when they see something that's knit. They think of these little flat V's. Well, what we're actually doing is controlling where we want the bumps. So we're going back and forth. So the first row we knit, which puts a bump on the back, and then we rotated it like this, and then we purled, which put a bump on the front, and then we rotated it again, and then knit, which put a bump on the back. And because we're turning our work every single time we finish a row, all our bumps and all our flat sides end up being on the same side. So all the bumps end up being on the same side, because remember, we knit one and we put it on the back, then we purled one row and put the bump on the front, and then we knit a row and put it on the back again. So that made them all on the same side, which made all the flat sides the same. And the flat side is that cute V's, all those little V's together. And this is typically, when people look at that, that's typically the front of their project. It's typically, you get the little V's as the front. So we're going to just add to this a little bit, because all of these rows I've been doing only knit. And so the reason they look like just a whole pile of bumps is because I'm knitting, so the bumps are going on the back, but then I'm rotating it, flipping it, and putting the bumps on the back again. So it's kind of like a brickwork of bumps. So it's actually a bump, and then not a bump, and then a bump, and then not a bump for each row. But because they're so close together, it appears to be just a whole pile of bumps. But it's actually every other row when you're looking on one side is a bump, because you rotate, and now we got the opposite bumps. Everything that was a bump, not a bump on the other side, is now a bump here. But the overall appearance is just a bunch of bumps. So now we're going to control it a little bit more. I'm going to make this kind of strip that we're doing a little bit bigger here. So that'll be kind of fun. So I'm going to start by just doing my normal decrease, and I'm keeping that so our border looks the same on both sides, no matter what. So I'm not doing the purls yet. Let's get some slack here. Okay, so I'm going to try doing this purling. Oh, I'm on the totally wrong side. I thought I was going to start stitching here, but my yarn isn't over here. That's the wrong side. I got to start stitching with the side with the yarn. So put it on the other side of this cable needle. That's the one thing with if you're just using straight needles, you're never going to make the mistake, because pretend that this is straight, it's always going to I'm always going to know, well, obviously, I see my project there. I know it's not on this other needle. But with a cable, you can accidentally slide the end of the project over to the needle and think it's the front. But there's no yarn there, so that's the back. Let's get back to the front here. So here's my yarn. Slide it up on that needle. All right, I'm going to grab it with my left hand so I can do that Continental style of stitching. And okay, so to decrease, just to review from the last couple nights, I'm going to knit one. That's just my starting stitch. And I'm going to decrease one for the row by knitting two together. So those are the two stitches I'm knitting together. But now I want to keep that decorative little hole that we're doing for our border. You can see the border has these holes all the way around. To get that hole, I'm doing a yarn over. So the yarn comes through the middle, and then I continue stitching the next stitch. But that yarn over, it adds that cute hole, but it also adds a stitch. So we're actually increasing a stitch. So we decreased a stitch, and now we increased a stitch. So now we're kind of at neutral again, right? But we need to decrease a stitch overall. So we got to decrease another stitch here. We're actually decreasing two stitches and increasing one. So we have a yield of one decrease, right? So, all right, here's my two stitched together. I'm going to bring my yarn around to the back again and finish that knit two together stitch. So that's it. That is my decrease. Now, in theory, I knit to the end of the row. But in this case, because I want the bumps on this side, I want the bumps on the front, not the back, I'm going to purl. So the purl, I bring my thread to the front. So usually when we knit with this working thread at the back of all my needles and stuff. Now I'm going to bring it to the front. So I'm going to bring it in between my two needles. Now it's on the front. Okay, too much slack here. Let's get a little tighter here. Okay, so I'm going to go in the front of my loop here now. And we're going to go in between the two stitches, and I bring my finger down so it's holds that loop there, and I'm going to bring this through the loop on the left needle there. And there we go. Take that off. That's our first purl, and you can see the bump right there. It is on the front, not the back. So we just need to continue doing that through to the middle and back down, and then through the loop on the needle and then off the hook again. So that's through the middle, down and around. That is the whole deal here. And with Continental knitting, if you do this finger up and down move, that's kind of the movement of the purls. So a little more movement of the hand than with the knit stitch. But here's the deal. Easy peasy. So again, what we're doing by doing these purl stitches are putting all of the bumps on the front. So see each one of these bumps, they're on the front. Whereas remember the knit stitch will put it on the back. But since we're putting it all on the front, there's a bump on this side and it's flat on the other. So we are making more pretty flat stitches on the back here. All right, here's Gretchen, here's how I'm holding the thread for Continental knitting. Here's how I'm holding the thread again. So here's my cone. I just have some slack here. And I am wrapping it around my pinky. And what this does is controls tension. So if I hold my pinky tight, I can't move my fourth finger separately from my pinky. So I'm just, I can't do that. If I hold, like my nerves are connected or something. If I hold this finger, I literally cannot bend. I cannot bend my pinky. So when I bend my pinky, this guy goes too. So yours might not do that. My other hand, I'm fine. This other hand, I can bend my pinky just fine. But this one doesn't work that way. So I'm wrapping it around my pinky. There we go. And holding it tight, scrunching it up will I won't be able to move that. But if I let it go, then I'm allowed slack, right? If I crunch it, then I don't. If I do, I'm allowed slack. So it's kind of a dance of giving myself more slack and then not. So then I just put it around my front finger here. And again, that kind of controls my up and down when I need to do that. And it just gives me a working space. So like from here to here is kind of my working space for knitting. So I'll knit up to my finger, and then when I need more slack, I'll let my pinky go, and I can get more slack. So it's that's the little dance there. So that's how I hold my yarn for Continental stitching. So Joja, you just say you don't move your finger at all. So I saw that on a video once, and I thought it was really helpful for purls. So you don't. Oh gosh, I don't even know if I can do it without doing that. So if I don't move my hand, then I gotta wrap this around this needle, but I still have to get it through here. So it helps by getting the thread down lower, because then it makes that little kind of arc. So I guess that's why I'm doing that finger flip down. So I'm curious how you deal with that, because you need to wrap it around. You need to wrap it around your needle, so you got some tension there. Here I don't have any tension. There's nothing to grab. Like this, I can more easily go through the loop on the left needle. So I don't know. I like that. I like that finger down thing. Yeah, I was doing some searching for some knitting videos. I remember this is like years ago when I was trying to learn Continental needle or Continental stitching. And I saw someone do that. I'm like, oh, that's pretty clever. I like it. So yeah, if anyone wants to take video of themselves stitching, I'd love to. I'd love to see. I'll have to do some more searching. I'll do a little YouTube search for Continental stitching purling. I'm curious how people do it if they don't bring their finger down like this. I'll have to check it out. Gretchen, you're finding the throwing method easy and fun. Totally. So I learned by doing the throwing method, and that's all I did for like over a decade. And I find that, maybe it's just because that's how I learned, but I find I can kind of control things a little bit more, but I know where to move things a little bit better. I do all the fancy stitches like that still. So yeah, go for the throw. That's totally fine. Oh, you just poke the needle and pull it through. I'm going to try. I'm going to look up how other people do that. You just wait. So maybe your fingers aren't like this. I could totally be doing this wrong too. I'm just doing it how it works for me right now. But all right, so I'm on the last 4 stitches. That's kind of where I'm doing that other border, my little border bit to keep my border the same. So I put my needle in the back again, and I'm going to just knit these last 4 stitches. All right. Okay, there we are, and I'm going to turn my work again. All right, so now those stitches that the purls, where we put the bump on this side, now that's the back of our work because we rotated again. So now we can see all these flat stitches, which is great because now I'm going to do a row of knits. And the knits, again, put the bump on the back. So if the bump's on the back, then it's flat on the front. And we want to continue this pretty flat front for a little while here. So I'm going to do a row of knits. Oh, first I'm going to get some more floss here. Poke it in from the top to the front and hold the yarn below the needle. Hold the yarn below the needle. So much faster than flicking. Okay, Josa, we'll do one more row of purls, and I'm going to try and do this. So let me just visualize it here for a sec. Okay, so if my thread is to the front, poke it in from the top to the front. All right, like that, right? And hold the yarn below the needle. I think I'll probably have to watch a video. I am not quite getting it. All right. Oh, your husband was worried you're giving up quilting for a new craft. There's always room for a new craft. It serves a different purpose. Oops, I just started knitting and I forgot I needed to do my decrease yet. So I knit the 1, and now I'm going to knit the 2 together, knit 2 together to do my decrease. There we are. And then I'm going to yarn over, which is just bringing the yarn to the front, getting it out of my way, and then I'm going to do the next stitch which is again a knit 2 together to decrease because our yarn over adds 1. So we're just going to wrap it around the back, and there we are. Those are our 4 little stitches that we do here. All right, now knit to the end of the row, putting the bump on the back. Easy peasy. So I'm trying to imagine what this looks like as a purl. So let me just figure that out now. So you go this way. Let's see, I need like a landing pad there. I'd have to still go through. Oh, I can't do it. I can't visualize it, Josa. I'll have to figure it out. Oh, it's funny watching me, Josa, try to do a purl, like how you're saying, like, how do I do a purl without like flicking my finger down? I would have to. Okay, the needle's in the front. Do you keep your yarn down like this the whole time? Maybe that's it. Like that, and then you just keep the finger down. Oh man, I don't know. But we gotta do the rest of our knits. So let's get to the end, and then we can play with purling again. Just speeding along, trying to go super fast here. I want to do another, like a more beginning video again for knitting. I'm going to get you guys a little closer here, I think. But I'd love to do a beginner's video for knitting one of these days, where I go super slow and, you know, we go through the whole thing. Right now, I'm just trying to crank out this dishcloth. Oh, I got marker on my finger. So basically, purl is yarn and needle in front. Yep, the purl, your yarn is in front and your needle's in front. Knit, your yarn is in back and your needle's in back. Oops, there we go. Yeah, I'm still trying to visualize that purl where I don't move my hand based on this knitting, and I'm just not seeing it yet. I will definitely have to look that up though. Getting some bulk on here. Let's shimmy that down. All right, there, to the end of the row. So there's our flat area. Our flat area is growing. So I suppose now we can just kind of decide how much longer we want to do this. We could kind of put in another little pattern in here. We could give that a try. We could attempt to do a little basket weave pattern. I might screw that up because I'm also decreasing at the same time, so I might get a little confused, but I think we could give that a try maybe. So basket weave pattern is, oh man, I'm not sure if I should do that. I think I might just keep knitting, you guys. We'll play with a whole pile of things. Oh, but I really want to do it now. The basket weave pattern. So we'll see. So for a basket weave pattern, what we're doing is trading off knits and purls within the row a little bit. So remember, we can control what we have as a flat side and what we have as a bumpy side. What we're going to do here is, for a basket weave, is like we'll make a little square of bumps, and then a square of flat areas, and a square of bumps, a square of flat area, and then on the next, like after we do a couple rows of that, so we can actually see those squares, then we'll switch and do a row of bumps, a row of flat, a row of bumps, a row of flat. We could try something like that, although, like I said, I am decreasing at the same time, so I might totally mess this up, but you know what? We're here to play around, so let's just do it. Okay, so I am going to do my first stitches here. Let's get some more slack. Some more slack from the pretty cone. All right. So I'm going to do my decrease first. Knit one, knit two together. Yarn over and knit two together again. It's a dishcloth, it's all good, right? Get in there. All right. There is our normal thing. So now we're going to try and give this a go. I think I'll do it in, let's do it in a set of 5 stitches. That looks like it would make a pretty nice square. So, all right, I'm going to knit 5, which is going to put bumps on the back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe we should just do 4. We'll do 5. 5, and then I'm going to purl, which will put bumps on the front. I can't visualize this without the little flick in, so we're going to keep doing the flick. 2, all right, 3, 4. I think some people maybe have the thread this way instead of this way. Maybe that helps. I can't do it that way. It's funny, you get so comfortable with one way of doing it. All right, I think I just have one more to go here. That's 5. All right, so now we're going to switch back. Let's do knits for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and purls for 5. Oop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm kind of ruining what I like about these dishcloths. I like that I can just speed to the end really fast without counting, and now I'm adding tons of counting. Okay, I'm doing knits again. 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, get some slack here, and I'm only going to purl to those 4 stitches. So I'm actually only going to purl 3 here, which is a little goofy, but we didn't really make a plan here. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and then we're back to my last 4 stitches that I'm just knitting to make that border. Okay, so let's rotate. And now we kind of have to do the exact opposite of what we just did, so we can make the flat. So here you can kind of see here's some bumps here, and then you don't see the bumps, and then you see the 5 bumps, you don't see the 5 bumps. We want to extend these a little bit longer, so I want to see bumps to about here. So where I see the bumps here, I want to purl because it puts bumps on the front, and here I want to knit because it puts bumps on the back. So I want to keep on doing that. So I'm going to pay attention to what I see down here. First, we got to do our decrease, our little decrease pattern. So knit 1, knit 2 together, yarn over, and knit 2 together. All right, now let's see what we got here. All right, it looks like I have 2 stitches without where it's flat in the front. So I want to keep that flat. So I'm going to put the bumps on the back, which means I'm going to knit 2. I'm going to knit those 2, and then I'm back to the 5s. So I'm going to purl. I want bumps on the front here to match these bumps, so I'm going to purl for 5. So I've got my yarn in the front again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so I want to go tonight at least till we can start to see this basket weave. All right, so now I should be able to do 5 knits. 1, 2. I think the basket weave was one of the first things I learned when I learned how to do knits and purls. It was my first kind of like fancy stitching, and it was just, you know, a matter of when I purl and when I knit. So it's just kind of a fun deal. All right, I'm on my 5 knit stitches. All right, and then 5 purls, or I'm going to just purl till I have the 4 stitches on the needle, it looks like. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, how are you supposed to take the needles off without unraveling at the end, Gretchen? So that is, oops, did I do 5? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I can get one more in here. That is called binding off. If you watched my video on Friday, scroll all the way to the end of my video on Friday. It was a Finish It Friday video where I stitched up, where is it? Oh, I did a little swatch of what one of these washcloths are. Take a look at the end of this. I show you how I bind off. Here's where I bound off here. You can just do the exact same thing as that. We'll eventually get to that here. We are just not there quite yet. Way too many stitches on my needle yet. All right, so you're starting to see the pattern here. Now I got these bumps and these flat areas and bumps and flat areas trading off. Maybe 5 stitches with a little bit. it won't be a perfect basket weave. I think I'll probably go up to here and then I'll switch it around, and I'll show you what that means in a sec here. We need a few more rows done though first. All right, some more slack here. Okay, let's try and cruise through this. So I'm going to do my normal decrease a little bit. Knit one, knit two together, yarn over, which is just bringing it to the front and then bringing it around to the back for that knit two together again. All right, now I got to see what we have going on here again. So I have knits. I have like 4 knits to do because it's flat. I want to continue that flatness by putting bumps on the back. And bumps on the back means knitting. 1, 2, 3, 4, and now the bumps are on the front, so we switch to the purl. And now we should be at our 5s again. We just lost a stitch because we decreased one. So that's why I only did 4 at the beginning. All right, switch to the knitting again. Square needles. Do the stitches look different? The stitches don't look different at all. Supposedly, or this is what they say in their advertising at least, square needles are supposed to give you a little bit more consistent tension in your stitches. I forget why. So I'll have to look into that again. But nope, it gives you the exact same looking stitches. And I think the same size stitches too. So this is a size 10 needle, and I know that my other dishcloth that I have sitting here was with a size 9 needle, and this definitely looks more loose and airy, like but by just a hair. So it makes sense that this is just a slightly bigger size needle. One more flat one. Kind of lost count. But luckily I know the difference. I know I want bumps on the front or the back, so I can just remember, okay, knit are bumps on the back, purl are bumps on the front. All right, so my last 4 stitches, I'm gonna just do that knit again. All right, and let's rotate. Oh, Josie, you did! You posted a video on the Penguin and Fish Crafters page. Oh, that's totally fine. That is not a great video. I will totally check that out, and we will play around with that. All right, look, our squares are starting to develop here. Look at, and that's, again, just we're controlling what side we want the bumps on. So I think let's do 1 more, maybe 2 more rows so it looks more square. I should have counted how many rows we did. Oh, well, I suppose we can count 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 rows. I always have a little bit trouble knowing. Yeah, I think 3 rows. Well, we'll see. So anyway, let's do like maybe 1 or 2 more rows, and then I'm going to switch it out. So now I'll put after that next row, I'll put the bumps here and the flat parts here, and then it'll almost like we wove this together, which is kind of cool, I think. It's just like, we're getting fancy here now. But we'll do 1 more of this so the whole thing, so they look more square instead of rectangular. Oops, sorry, I bumped you guys. Just need a little more floss. Again, I usually have my floss, or I keep saying floss, but my yarn. I usually have my cone of yarn kind of on the floor so I can just pull up. I don't have to keep giving myself this slack, but on the table here. Slack it is. So our normal decrease row, or decrease section again. All right. That yarn over and knit 2 together. All right, we are ready for, oops, I snagged the wrong part of the yarn. I didn't get all the way through. I split the yarn there. Okay, so those are our 4. Now let's see what we got to do here. Oh, it looks like we have 1 knit stitch here, one flat stitch, and now I got my 5 purls. So let's bring the thread to the yarn to the front again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so for the next, I think for the next row, we'll switch it around. If they're a little rectangular, that's fine. I just kind of want to see what it looks like. Getting anxious. I want to see the basket weave. I suppose we could have seen it quicker if we did like a 3-stitch wide basket weave instead of a 5 stitches, like we're doing 5 stitches now. 5 of purls, 5 of knits. We could have done 3 of purls and 3 of knits. It'd be a smaller basket weave though, and I kind of like seeing it nice and big. It's kind of fun. All right, almost there. And a couple purls and we'll be done with this row. You know, at the same time as we're doing this basket weave, it's getting smaller and smaller still because we're still doing that decrease section. All right, one more. Okay. Knit the 4 last ones. Rows are getting faster though. The less stitches you have on the rows, the faster the rows go. All right. Yeah, I'm going to switch to, I'm going to switch these around now. So what I mean by that is, remember I'm trying to make these goofy squares. So wherever there is a bump, you know, I got this square of bumps. Now I want to make that flat. So I have a flat square on top of the bumpy square. And here's my flat square. I want a bumps on top of that. So we're just kind of doing the opposite of what we have going on here. Oh, you're really understanding when you say this is Zen. Yeah. This is, like I said, this knitting and crochet are kind of my totally go-to, I just want to chill and completely zen out projects. I mean, we're getting a little fancy here, but I love just knitting without counting, which is kind of this dishcloth. I just have to count. I just have to stitch until I think I'm around 45 stitches to the middle, and then I just adjust, start decreasing. All right, yarn over, and here's our last knit 2 together. Hi, Barbara. Thanks for joining. All right. Now, remember, I am going backwards now. So I have 3 knit stitches, it looks like here. Or 3 where the bumps are in the back. I should say it that way. The bumps are in the back. I want to put the bumps on the front now. Instead, we're going to switch it up. So I am going to purl, which puts bumps on the front. And let's do it. I think, like I said, I think there's just 3 here. Yep. Okay, now I'm going to knit where these 5 bumps are, because I want the bumps on the back now instead of the front. 2, 3. All right, that's our 5. Now let's purl again. Oop. Got a little too much slack there. Gotta get around my finger again. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then back to knitting. So yarn in the back. And needle in the back. All right, and now I got a whole pile of bunched up stitches on my hand here, so I'm going to just extend those down. And let's purl. Bumps on the front. All right, until we have the 4 stitches at least. All right, that was the 5, and then I can knit to the end, it looks like. All right, so that was the row where we switched up our stitches. So we flipped that basket weave. So now I want to go with it for a little while. I want to, make that square. So I got to do a couple more rows to get that square effect. Okay, so let's keep it the same now. So let's start our decrease section. Knit 1, knit 2 together. Come on, yarn. There we go. Yarn over and knit 2 together. Oops, I split my stitch there again. I must be getting sleepy or something. I don't know. All right. Okay, so it's a matter of how many purls to knits, which makes the pattern. A lot of times. So there's some other fancy stitches and stuff that you can do, like cables and other things, but most typically, I would say yes, Gretchen. Where you put your bumps is where the pattern gets made. So the bumps again are made by knitting or purling. Knitting puts bumps on the back and purling puts bumps on the front. So it's however you want the pattern to look, controlling those bumps. And right now we're controlling the bumps to make this basket weave. Bumps on the front versus bumps on the back. We want squares of bumps in a row. And then we want to switch, like flip the row so it looks like a basket weave. And that'll make sense in a second here. Once we're done with this row, I think we'll be able to start to see it. So our mittens are to make. I mean, it depends on the pattern, but I'm thinking with mittens, you'll definitely be working some increases and decreases. Did I do 5 here? I feel like I'm missing a stitch. Oh, I think I purled 1 extra over here. Yep, 1, 2, wait, hold on. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I did 6 here instead of 5. So let's see if I can go back. This is like my fear of knitting. This is sometimes why I like knitting, or why I like crochet a little bit more. I'm just dealing with 1 loop. But I never know really. Wait, did I knit these? Yeah, I knit these. So I'm not good at getting things back. That doesn't look right. I think I rotated it. All right, there we go. I'm trying to back it up now. I could totally be doing this wrong, but this is how we're doing it. All right. Here's where I made the mistake, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, nope, 2 more. Yeah, so for mittens, it's a matter of where you're increasing and decreasing. All right, so here's that one that I did the mistake. All right, so I was supposed to knit a stitch sooner than I started. All right, I think we're good. I think I might have twisted a few stitches, but I'll figure it out here. Yeah, I think this is supposed to go this way. It'll all be okay. All right, let's knit our 5. 1, 2. Oh yeah, this one's backwards, I think. 3. This one is 2. 4, 5. Yeah, I put a couple of these on the needle wrong, so I'm just, my knitting looks weird here, but it's because I put the stitches on the wrong side. All right, I think we're right now. There we go. Oh, so mittens don't sound like they're good for beginners. You can give it a try. I sometimes just like jumping in. But if you haven't knit like at all, I would start by just trying to like a project like this. I mean, now we're getting fancy, but or even easier than this, you could do. You could, hold on, I'm trying to count too, you guys. You could just do a square. So you could just knit like 20 stitches or cast on 20 stitches and then just knit back and forth till you have a square. That would be a totally legitimate first project. So I would see how that goes. And then I would do a project like this, where you have that extra little fanciness of that yarn over, where we're increasing each one. This would actually probably be good practice for a mitten, because mittens you're going to have a lot of increases and you're going to have a lot of decreases. So that would be a good practice in getting that idea. And then if you feel confident with that, then you can maybe try and jump into a mitten. But yeah, make sure to have a pattern by you and follow that pattern and check off the rows that you're doing. Oh, that's what you're doing, Gretchen. So Gretchen's doing, this is her, Gretchen, this is your first time knitting, right? She's doing a row of 12 and then just going back and forth and back and forth. Like skip this whole yarn over, skip this increasing and decreasing that I'm doing. And just do rows back and forth. You'll still get a perfectly lovely dishcloth, and you'll get a lot of practice in. But yeah, and check out the video that I did on Friday, because I do show you how to decrease there. I'm not going to make it to decrease land today, because I played with fancy stitches instead. Oh, Gretchen, that's so awesome. That's just so exciting. I'm happy you're doing it. So cool. All right, looks like I have 2 purls here to do. I always find it fun learning a new craft. Sometimes I just want to, I just need to know, oh my gosh, how is that done? How are people doing that, And then at that point, I can decide, yeah, all right, not for me, or not for me right now. But at least I figured out the mystery, Sometimes that's all I need to do. Other times, I want to just really dig in more and do more projects. All right, after this row, we'll take a look at it again. It might even be time to switch the basket weave. I haven't really been counting rows. I've just been kind of going with the stitches. The bumps on the front, bumps on the back, that's all I'm kind of worried about right now. And continuing my decrease each row for the washcloth. You want to do it all! I'm with you, Libby. I know how to do a lot of crafts at a basic to intermediate level, and I've been trying to get a little bit more advanced on some of them, but and it's because I want to learn all the mysteries of the world, right? So if there's like a craft that I don't know how they're doing it, I need to find out how. Like English paper piecing, or knitting and purling, or tatting or crochet or whatever it is. I need to know the mystery, and once I know the mystery, I can sometimes take it or leave it. I feel good that I have it figured out now. I just then I can decide if I like it or not. Oh, you want to revisit the crayons with embroidery, Gretchen? You love that. I had so much fun with that. That would be a fun thing to do again. All right, you guys, look. Here's the basket weave starting. Okay, I definitely need another row in there. But look, since we traded off those squares, it almost looks like we wove this together a little bit, doesn't it? I think that's so cool. Maybe I'll just continue this pattern to the end because then you can see it. You'll be able to see it a little bit more. I think I have one more row to go before we flip it around again. This looks like it has four rows, 4 bumps here. So 4 rows. This one I only have 3, so I got to do one more. See, I could have gone a little bit higher to make this more square. Right now it's pretty rectangular, but I couldn't wait. I wanted to switch it around. So all right, let's do. I think we can fit in one more row here before we end it tonight. And yeah, I will probably just keep working on this a little bit. You know, after this next row, I will switch it around again and do the square opposite. And yeah, maybe I'll come back to this. So just so you guys know, I'm keeping on decreasing, right? So you can see, you know, we started at like here, and I'm decreased it quite a bit. Decrease my square, my diamond overall here. So I'm going to keep decreasing. Like I'm going to keep decreasing 1 each time by doing that, you know, little 4 beginning stitches that we do. I'm going to keep decreasing till I have 5 more stitches on my needle, and then I will knit like 2 more rows just to get like the bulk of a bottom border. And then I'll cast off, or I'll bind off. That's where I actually take the loops off of the needle, because they can't stay like this forever, right? So for that bind off, definitely go watch my video that I did this past Friday, and I show you how to do that. I showed you how to do that with this feller here. I'm not going to get to that tonight. I might be able to pop in and show you guys just the decrease with the 5 once I get that low, but we'll see how it goes. For now, though, I am going to just keep continuing this until I have 5 stitches on the needle, and then we'll complete the pattern. So I do have the pattern in this Facebook post if you need a reminder of what the pattern is, like how many like, do I end at 5 stitches or whatever? If you forget, I have the pattern here. All right, I'm going to do one more row, and we will call it an evening here. Oop, geez, I'm losing my stitches. So yeah, it's time to stop. I'm splitting stitches, and by splitting I mean instead of going like through the yarn like this, I'm like cutting my yarn in half and only getting a couple strands, and you know, like this, and then, you know, strands are left behind. So it's time to stop after this row before I make any more crazy mistakes. All right, we're gonna knit. This is my last row where I follow the bumps, what side the bumps are on, and then I switch them up again to make the squares start in that opposite direction. All right. Each row is definitely getting faster and faster, so this probably actually at this point won't take me too long to finish. We should count how many stitches we have on here too, because it's definitely changed from when we began tonight. Oh, you love how knitting feels so soft. Yeah, and the sounds, like, I mean, I'm yammering over this the whole time, but just, I'll be quiet for a sec just to hear the sound of the needles. It's so nice. I just like that sliding. noise, and it's pretty sounding with these aluminum needles, but it's nice with wood or bamboo needles too. All right, let's check it out. Let's see how many stitches we have on. But there we go. So here's our squares. Next up, I'm going to put the bumpy ones here and the flat ones above the bumpy ones. So we'll have like that crisscross happening. And overall, it'll feel like a basket weave almost. Okay. Let's count the stitches. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 29. 29, so a few more rows to go yet, but we'll keep playing with this basket weave, and again, I'll decrease till I get to those 5 stitches, and then we'll be just about done. All right, you guys, I'm going to flip you around, and we'll call it an evening here. Oh, Diane, it kind of is like a puzzle. So it's all about where do you want bumps to be. So you're designing through bumps, and all you have to remember is a knit puts the bump on the back, and the purl puts the bump on the front. So if you can control where your bump is, control your bump, and then you will be able to get some patterns out of there. So here's the little start of a pattern. So remember, all of this we just knit on both sides, and then we did the stockinette stitch. Oh my God, I can't say that word tonight, you guys. Where we knit on, or we put bumps on. We put bumps on one side, and we put the flat bits on the other, and then we traded them off to make this kind of start of a basket weave. So we got those square bumps hiding in here. So that's how it's going here, you guys. We almost have a dishcloth. All right, so I'm going to check out, Josa, that video that you made to how you do your Continental knitting, and yeah, I'll look up some other videos and stuff too, because I just can't wrap my brain around it. So, all right, I will get this up on YouTube tonight, you guys, if you want to watch it again. Again, if you're starting from scratch, be sure to watch the last couple of videos for this as well. I'll put the Finish It Friday one where we did that little swatch. I'll put this one on YouTube. This whole project is grouped. I will put that Finish It Friday one up there as well, so it's easy for you guys to find it. And give it a go. Give it a try. So thanks again, everyone. I will see you tomorrow for New Black Thursday. Good night.